Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Happy Monday. So we're here today, as we promised you. We wanted to come and just answer some more questions. We got lots of questions that came into the office by phone, by messaging to us, by text, by DMs. And we want to make sure that we reach out to you and answer all your questions. I hope you guys have had a great day. I hope you all had a great weekend. We're in Miami.
We had severe thunderstorms.
Thunderstorms.
Did you have
like
thunderstorms?
crazy.
We had severe lightning. The glass was shaking.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So I want to find out if you guys can just, we know you're joining. A lot of people are joining. If you could just let us know where you're joining us from. We know that you're listening to us. I get the calls from people from all over the world. And I'm just very happy to just know right now where you're calling from, where you're joining us from, and what's going on. What's going on where you're from. Right?
I know how you feel. When you're helping people, you feel good. It's just fun. We're having a good time. So we know that you guys are in a difficult situation, but we want to help as much as we can. So ask the questions. We had the expert here, 35 years experience. I know the court stuff. She knows the court stuff too, but also she's a visa expert.
Well, yeah, we've both been at it for a long time, so we want to be able to help you all out. And we know that a lot of you have called and you're a little stressed with different situations. Yeah. Remember now that there's always a solution. And I people said, well, don't say that because times are tough and don't try to make it seem easier than it really is. But you know what? There is a solution. And even if you don't get the right outcome right this minute, you will get an outcome. A lot of you here who are listening to us, and I want to especially address our friends from Haiti and from Syria, Venezuela, and Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua. We know that your TPS ended, and a lot of you are trying to figure out what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Remember now, you all have the right to apply for political asylum, because a lot of these countries are not where they need to be. A lot of the countries are having problems. So you have the right to apply for political asylum. But a lot of you have been here for more than 10 years. And that puts you also in a different category. You can apply for the 10-year law, which is called cancellation of removal.
That's a good law. It works.
Very, very good. And we're going to talk about that today. But before I get there, I got a very, very, very important question. And this was from a person who missed his biometric appointments. The fingerprint appointments where you go and you take the fingerprints.
Don't miss them.
Okay. So this person missed the appointments because he was in the hospital.
That's different.
Yes.
Different.
So in a situation like that, I had one person who called us last week. What we did was we got on the phone, we spoke to USCIS, and the USCIS officer said, yes, they were going to resend the biometrics appointment. So if that happens to you, call right away. Don't wait. I'm not even going to tell you to send a letter. You can send a letter, you can send an email, but call right away because you don't want to miss that appointment. Because if you miss that appointment, you know what you're going to get? You're going to get a denial. You don't want a denial. And if your case is denied, you're going to have to start all over again. But even worse than that, you may have to leave the country. So just make sure that you think about that.
Or to refile and pay all those fees all over again. That's such a waste.
That's a big waste of time. And also, another person says that they want to find out if they can do an adjustment of status from a B1 to an F1, and you are here already in the United States. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do it. The law allows you to do it, but it's not recommended because a lot of these cases are getting denied. Why? Because the officer is going to say, when you apply for your B1 with the embassy, did you not think about that you were going to need an F1? Or did you just come to you just lied to us and say you wanted a B1, B2 to enter the United States. And once you got to the United States, you're going to sit here and apply for F1. So let's be careful about that, okay?
Yes.
Let's be super, super careful about that. So before you do that, let's talk to an attorney before you do that. I also want to get into something, and that is that some people have called, a lot really, and they said that they want to know if they're getting something, from USCIS, and it is called a notice to appear. It's a document, okay, that they're getting from the court. And this is happening with people who have now their TPS has been denied, or their asylum case has been denied, or their residence have been denied, and they're getting this paper. Can you
Yeah,
talk to us about it?
Let's make it real. This is what it looks like. And it's a photocopy, so the paper is a little different the way you get it, but it has a lot of important information on here. And it's at the top, it's titled Notice to Appear, and it's coming from the Department of Homeland Security. And the best way I can describe it is that it's like getting a traffic ticket. You ever get a traffic ticket, but it's not just one violation, it's a few violations. So you were driving and you didn't, and your back tail light wasn't working. That's one that goes on your ticket. Here's the ticket. This is the ticket. And also you went a little too fast. Okay, that's the second charge. Okay, charge. That's the second charge you'll find on here. And it goes down. Now here, I crossed this out, so we don't know who this person is. This is an old file I pulled it from. So like for example, here they say, you are an arriving alien. And they will check off the boxes that apply. You know, you are an alien present in the United States who has not been admitted or paroled. That's the box that hurts. And another one says you have been admitted to the United States, but are removable for the reasons stated below. And there could be reasons. In this case, the only box that says checked in this case was that he's just an alien. He's in the United States, but you know what? He never was paroled, and he never got permission to come into the United States. This is part of the notice to appear. We're just telling you because this is very important. Your whole case, what I do as an immigration attorney and my wife, this is the first thing we look at. We want to know what the charges are, right? If you get a traffic ticket, you're not going to defend yourself against something else. It's outside. It's what's on the ticket. And here it says Department of Homeland Security alleges, it means they claim that you're not a citizen or a national of the United States, that you're not a native, that you are in fact a native of whatever the country is. In this case, this person was from Mexico and also a citizen of Mexico. It says you enter the United States at or near unknown, where sometimes they'll mention a specific border. It doesn't really matter. On or about an unknown date, or sometimes a known date. It's good to have those dates though, but sometimes they don't have the date because that helps if you apply for cancellation or removal.
Right.
They want to know when you entered, and that's important. So, but there's not much you can do about that. And then over here they'll say, let's see, it says you were not admitted, you were not paroled, you were not inspected by an immigration officer, and that you arrived at a time or place other than designated by the Attorney General. In other words, you came into the United States without authorization.
Mm-hmm.
And then they could have some other charges on there. And so your attorney will look at the charges and defend you according to these charges, right? And just the other day, I had to make changes because one of the questions that a judge will ask you is that, or ask your attorney, is that, do you admit these charges? And if you admit them, that's in the record. Boom. That's a fact. So be careful that these are correct. In one case, and this happens more than once, the fellow who was on here, he was, they said that he was a native of a certain country and a citizen of another country, but he had never been to the other country. He doesn't know the other country.
Right.
And there are a lot of little things. Don't accept what they've written here. Make sure it's correct. And anyway, so I'll go on to tell you when you have to appear in court, which is really important. That's why don't throw these letters away or ignore them. Have someone look at them. They'll tell you where, when, like here in this case, it's saying it was January 21st at 9 a.m. And a lot of times you'll see the name of the judge that it's assigned to, but not often. The most important thing is that you will after this get a notice of your exact hearing date, and that's a date that you have to appear in court. And so get those notices, hold on to them, and show them to your attorney, or show them to someone else who can understand what's going on. But don't ignore it, and don't.
Right. And also remember the other day we were in court and this a client came in, this fella came in, and he was getting ready for court, and then he realized that his court was not in Miami, it was in Texas. So it's very important that you really, really review the notice.
Yes, yeah.
Take
He
a
was
look.
not a client though.
Right, he was not our
He
client.
was just someone is lost in the hallways.
Yeah, he was.
And
Yeah,
we see all the time. We see people like this.
and
They're lost.
so yeah, it's very important. So he was actually without an
But
attorney.
you gave him good advice.
Yeah,
And if you hadn't told him that, he
Right.
would have gotten. What do you think he would have gotten?
he would have gotten an order of deportation.
That's right. An abstention with that outside of his house.
Right. So we told him
Don't,
to go to the 7th
So
floor,
you saved him that day.
speak to the administrator in the court, and try to figure out a way to go online and talk to the judge and so on. So
They're not
that's
unreasonable. They'll listen. They'll
Yes.
give you a break, if you
That-
explain.
that's super important. So just remember to really take a look at the notice to appear if you get it. If you're getting a lot of letters from USCIS, I want you to pay close attention. Maybe you're not getting a notice to appear. Maybe you're getting a fingerprint appointment. You have to make sure that you attend that fingerprint appointment, and that goes for everybody. Everybody now gets a fingerprint appointment. F1s, OPT, work permits,
Sure.
citizenship, residence. We had people the other day even doing a non-immigrant visa, and they got a fingerprint appointment. So everybody now that gets one, you have to appear. Don't question it. Why should I go? Why should I? What if I'm in one state, and I got a fingerprint appointment in another state? Sometimes you can change it, but if you don't get through an immigration officer to change it by phone, fly over there and do your fingerprint
Yeah.
appointment.
We see people all the time who pull up at the Miami court here, and I look at their license plate. It says Texas,
Mhm.
California. They don't have the funds to fly in, so they'll actually drive their car those
Exactly.
incredible distances. That's how important it is.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what's also, if I may say, not only getting these forms important, what's also important is that you don't get anything in the mail. If you don't get anything in the mail, that's something is wrong. And you should say to yourself, wait a second, have I moved recently? For the past 6 months or 12 months or whenever. Because if you've moved, you've got to let them know that you moved. Otherwise, you're just in hiding, just waiting for trouble. So don't do that. You have to find out what notices are being sent to you. You have to make sure that they have your right address. And anyway, that's very important.
Yeah, super important. And so the other thing that I wanted to, wait, we have quite a few questions here. Let's
Okay.
grab some of these questions.
Sorry.
And see, here is a person said, Deepu said, I missed my biometric initial OPT appointment due to no physical mail delivery. I'm still waiting for a reschedule, second service request. It's been 50 days. Oh, I want to sneeze. Sorry.
This is my chance now.
Sorry. I did my second service request. It's been 50 days. I did premium processing. It's been 4 weeks. So my question then to you, Deepu, is did you call? You did a service request, but how did you do it? Did you call? Did you speak to an officer? Because if you did speak to an officer, the officer should give you another date. Now, if you did speak to an officer, if you called and spoke to an officer and you haven't got, you have to call back. You have to call back because you need to get those fingerprint appointments in. They're very, very important, more than ever before. So make sure that you're doing it.
Well, what
Okay.
about going down there anymore? What does that look like these days?
Well,
Just take a drive down to the local.
They may let you
service
in, they may not let you in. They may let you in, they may not let you in. So I know I've had people who have gone there and the guards are not going to let you in. Sometimes it works. You have nothing to lose but to try. But a lot of times the officers, they won't let you in because they don't want everybody to be showing up because it's too much chaos for them. So make sure you're calling, keep calling USCIS and make sure you get that fingerprint appointment done, because if you don't, your case could definitely get denied. So I want to make sure that you understand that. Okay.
Just to interrupt. The other day, I drove you down to the service center, remember? And you had an appointment down there. And while I was waiting, I had to use the bathroom. So I went up to the guard. I showed him my identification. 35 years, has to be worth something. I don't expect a special bathroom for anything like that. They said, no, you can't come in. You're not allowed to come in. Only Carlene's allowed to come in because she's the only one. I says, come on, I know you. You can let me in. I got to go to the bathroom. No. Well, anyway, when Carlene came out, I was coming out of McDonald's. She wanted to know, what, you're eating McDonald's now? I said, no, but I did use their bathroom. So they're strict. Don't be
Yeah.
upset if they do that to
Yeah,
you.
they're super strict. They're super strict. So you have to definitely get an appointment, make an appointment before you go down to the USCIS. Okay. All right. So here's another one says so all right. So some people have told me this, that we had another situation where the work permit was approved, but the person did not get the work. It says it online that it was approved. We call USCIS. USCIS said it was approved, but the person didn't get the card in the mail. So when he checked with the post office couldn't find it. What happens in that situation? You didn't get the card in the mail, although it was approved. So what you have to do is you have to fill out a form. Okay, you have to fill out a form, and you have to ask. It's called the I-90, and you have to ask USCIS to replace that card, and you have to write on there that you never got the card. Is it going to take a long time to get there? You can put that there's an emergency. I need to start my job soon. And then after you mail it, call USCIS and say, listen, this got lost. It wasn't my fault. It got lost in the mail, and USCIS will honor it, and they will get you a new card. And you may say, well, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Yes, they'll get you the new card for sure. Okay, here we have another question. My OPT is still in process and was not yet approved. Will there be any change in my initial start date, as it has already been around 40 days, and will there be a change in date after the EAD is approved? And that's a really good question. I think in this case, you have to talk to your DSO, okay? Make sure you go down to the office of the university, go to the International Student Department, speak to the DSO, and find out if that's something they can do for you. A lot of times they won't do it because they already set the date. And USCIS is taking a long time to process these cards. And I really feel for you guys, because I know you guys want to start working, but talk to the officer and see if your DSO at the school, and see if there's something that they could do for you. All right. So we want to make sure. So let us pause for a moment, and let me just ask you, where are you guys from? Remember to follow us, to subscribe to our channel, because we're trying to do this for you so that we can appear and answer your questions and relieve your fears, and make sure we get the message out there that although this is a difficult time in immigration, there's still hope. You can still do processes. You can still apply. You can still try to do something. Don't just say give up. There are processes out there. There are applications out there. There are things that you can do. You have options. And the only time that you should give up is when you've exhausted all the options, and then you say, you know what, I'm going to go back home and try again. But before you decide to go back home, before you make a decision to go back home, talk to someone, talk to an attorney, and see if there are different things that you can do. Okay, that's really, really important.
And don't feel that. Look, we're older than you, obviously, right? For the students, okay, we're a little older. I'm a couple of years. My wife's a lot older than I am. But the fact is that we have 2 children, and our kids are recent graduates. My daughter and our daughter and our son both graduated, and they had our daughter. She graduated from Columbia as the School of International Public Affairs, and just about everyone in her class was from somewhere. Indonesia, they were from everywhere, remember? And so she would have conversations with them over dinner that were a little unusual, a little different from what she was used to. She never thought about her own immigration status. I mean, she was born here, but she has made it clear to us that you guys are struggling, and it's a very high anxiety environment. And our son also graduated from Columbia University, and his friends also from all over the world. And on top of that, what happened at Columbia with the protests. Now, the protest was a very, very difficult time. And a lot of students that ended up getting deported, right? Because that was, like you were saying earlier, that's a breach of an agreement that was made. When you come here, you're not supposed to engage in that type of activity. So you have to be careful with that. That's a decision you have to make, a personal decision. But understand, though, when you decide to protest at a university and you're on one of these visas, you are subject to deportation. And they certainly removed a lot of people, a lot of students. And I know, because I went up there to protect my son and my daughter from what at the time looked like incredible violence. I was there for a month. I took off a month of work. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
And it was terrible on all sides. I'm not making a political statement. Everyone suffered. And so just be careful with these protests. Don't get pulled into it. Don't get involved in it. And if you do, understand that there are or there can be consequences.
Yeah.
And we got to see a lot of people get deported. People that my son knew that was deported. People that my daughter knew, and it's not easy. So, but we understand what it's like. So we've heard the stories, and we've lived it because it was 6 years, right?
Right.
6 years going up and down in New York City. And so we know you guys are under a lot of pressure, and we want you to do well. We're trying to warn you, like, look at us as mom and dad, okay? For you younger guys as students, you could ask us anything. All right? I'm talking too much.
The other thing too is remember that now that before you get approved, that the Homeland Security is going to check your social media. So if you guys have social media, your Facebook, Insta, a lot of you, of course, you have Instagram, you have TikTok, make sure you're not, posting anything too political there against the U.S. government or anything that will cause the USCIS to have doubts about you.
They do investigate.
They are
really,
investigating.
really do.
So that's very important.
We've lost clients from this before.
Yes. So be careful. So just so you know, we'll be here for you. Come with your questions tomorrow. We're gonna sign off now.
Do you have any more questions?
But if you want, tomorrow we'll answer more questions.
Any last emergency question, maybe, like you cannot wait?
And if not, you just shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to talk to you. Okay. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe.